some bound in chains. Through battles waged and fought, through victory and pain, by test of their courage, our freedom was gained. In homage to those gone before us, the heroes of lands in the sun, we vow to join hands and to focus on building one Caribbean. Raise your voices high, sing of your Caribbean pride. Sing it loud and strong, feel our hearts beat as one.
Welcome, brothers, welcome, sisters, welcome to our program On Target. Today is the 6th week of Easter, and you are welcome back on Target. As soon as we start this program, you are free to participate, to open bath, to open bowl, to pick up the telephone and call. We never have a subject matter. We speak about anything. We have a caller on the line. Caller, welcome and punch.
Good afternoon, my dear.
Yes, good day, man. Welcome.
Yes, I have something on my mind and I have to let it out too.
You have to speak a little louder, I think.
I say I have something on my mind and I have
Go
to
right ahead, punch.
because the other side asking for the Prime Minister to have a debate. Let me tell them. You see, long ago people had, they know how to talk, they know how to speak. They speaking with sense, but these are positions that really know. I don't want me have my Prime Minister go and have debate with these type of people that really know. These type of people that really know, I don't know if they grow up in a home as I grew up in my home. My home was real nice, especially the neighbors and them. Their neighbor, long time people was nice.
So you don't support in debate between the Prime Minister and the leader, is not the opposition, the leader of the Democratic Party.
Yes.
Right. But what's about debate between the different ministers?
Well, the debate between the different ministers. Allah, let me tell you something. You don't have no debate with ministers on the other side.
Yeah,
I
you see.
Who is the other side?
You see.
The other side do good debate.
You see,
Nice.
I somewhat agree with you, but for different reasons. The Constitution of Grenada does not recognize political party. It recognizes those who could command the majority.
Yes.
So I believe the debate we should be having is the people in the different constituencies. It's not a presidential election like the United States of America. When you win, you determine who commands the majority. You don't even know if they're going to get the seat.
Well, this type of people that really know.
Well, it's the same Grenadians, I guess.
Politician a long time, so I know.
All right, okay, yeah.
I know.
Okay.
Politician a long time, so
All
I
right.
know the debate. They do this.
You don't believe they're genuine?
No.
You don't believe they're genuine?
No. Those
Okay.
I already know. No.
All right.
Those I already know. Those genuine at all.
Okay,
And
thank
they
you
don't have
for that.
respect for God.
All right.
Not place for the two. And I don't want no Prime Minister in that.
All right, thank you.
Okay, Papa.
Yes. Thank you. I somewhat is disappointed with our journalists and radio personalities. They perhaps are the ones should be calling for debate a very long time ago. Now the debate should be between the candidates running in the constituencies We don't have a presidential election in Grenada. What we have is parties running. And when you win election, whoever could command the majority becomes the prime minister. So none of the Mitchells know if they're going to win the seat. And once you hear there is no more parliament. These individuals, you run for election, the debate should be between the two parties running in a different constituency. That's where the debate takes place. When an individual wins election, we should set the culture pattern that every 6 months, the Prime Minister and the leader of the main opposition party or parties should have a dialogue. Because there must be issues that transcend party politics. So we should encourage the culture in Grenada where the Prime Minister and the opposition leader meets every 6 months in an open agenda where they tend to have discussion. But waiting when the bell ring, when the date for election casts less than a month away and asking for debate is only political stunt and grandstanding. I don't think there is any genuine thing about that. The debate ought to be between, so in St. Patrick's here, that debate should be between Adams and Mellows, or between Pamela and Dennis, between Skate and Tessa, between Delma and Gloria, between Yolan Bain and Toes, between Nazim Bok, between Peter David and Claudette, between Kit Mitchell and Lacrette. That is how the debate ought to be, because the Constitution does not recognize political parties. They recognize who commands the majority. So I don't know why, and these things should be practically introduced so it become tradition and institutionalized. And then you encourage the Prime Minister and the opposition leader to have a discussion every 6 months without agenda. So these two men may sit and speak about the environment, may discuss issues that transcend party politics. Many years ago, we had a group called themselves Civil Society and said it was apolitical. They're more political than the politicians, but they pretend that it was apolitical. So what we need to do, and maybe the press could have taken the initiative in advocating that. So once you have discussion between the caretakers and it becomes part of our culture. Throughout the Caribbean, we don't really have debates between political leaders of political organizations. So this is only grandstanding, and it is not genuine. And I don't think it is necessary either. This is a period of time when the political leaders are on the platform, and there is reason and justification for campaigning and putting up posters and passing around with mic. Some people, it take energy for them to come out. If you notice now, all Zandoli finding the hole, all who was pretending they're neutral, now they're waving colors. And they on the street participating in discussion. There are some people that are undecided. And these activities and momentum help them to make up their mind. And we have a call on the line, call a punch.
Yeah, Mr. Pierre, good day.
Yes, my brother.
For a few weekends. Yeah. The question I'm asking is, Frank, I in here, here's from the city campaign start. Since he resigned, he said she should not be in front line, but she should be supporting. And since she resigned, we don't know the campaign start. We still don't even hearing our voice. You come back and endorse nobody.
But you must remember.
What Jenny was saying. This is what Jenny was saying. They have a big problem. She didn't, but she says she can expose what they meeting and what they meet when she was in there. But they say there's a deep problem. There's a lot of problem. So I think Franca was supposed to. I think a guy has to be on the stage here. And she says she can discuss that way. He end up he take his handband and make a necklace it. He end up take it out in it. He said, nah, he can't say there has to be should be some deep problem within the party. So I don't know if that are the bubbling when they bring in the next guy to take over. I don't know if it's that and they push out. But after that situation, at least if you come out and say something clearly, yes, and that's if your party has do something, but you can't just stay silent and you're the last leader. You can't just stay in silence there. So I don't know if as the campaign hit up your call, but people need clear answer because remember people had her as the best choice. So no our pass, so then she didn't come forward and say nothing. I'm sure she in Grenada still. I'm sure she there on Grenada. So yeah, you take care. Nice.
Yes, scholar, thank you. Remember she said that I think she left because of medical grounds. Stress. And if it was stressful, the election now will be even more stressful. So when somebody in politics and they left because of medical grounds, I think the best thing is to respect a position and leave her alone. You don't want to come out and get involved in this process and then more stress come and she dead. You know, we have a caller on the line. Caller, welcome.
Yeah, brother, good morning.
Yes,
how you doing?
my brother, welcome.
You good?
Yes, man, great, man.
Watch, I see this thing, huh? Now, when you look at the world today, you understand, I believe we are on the brink of the Third World War. You understand? And we don't know what next month will bring or what month after will bring. You understand? In this election cycle, how I see this thing, if we have a change of government in Grenada, then we will have what you call a slowdown of economy of the economy. The country may virtually close down. Because I have experienced that in the past. What I saw happen in 2008, in the first 2-3 years, the party in power wasn't able, you understand, to even, well, they wasn't even able to fit in the people in position yet. A lot of the foot soldiers was crying out because they wasn't getting nothing to do. You understand? The only group of people I see went into government and do something as soon as they went in. It was the NNP in 2013. What happens when a political party takes power? You find they tend to say, well, look, we made the treasury in a state, we don't have money, the country don't have money, the former government squander the money and so on and so on. Then they have 3, 4, 5 years to adjust themselves, put this one day, put the next one day, fire who they have to fire, because I experienced that, I got fired, you understand? And then you have the whole country in a lull.
You're not convinced, this group claim that all of them are brand new to politics and they have sidelined all the old guards and the older people. So you are not, so what happened? You're not convinced that they are capable of starting the ball immediately and functioning effectively?
No, I don't see that. You see, those fellas don't have the maneuvering skills, the political skills. I heard Kellen Bob, if it's Kellen Bob you call him, I think, was saying recently, he made reference of the people that, he said that they're talking about inexperience and they're talking about, he made reference to Delma Thomas and he made reference to Kate Lewis coming into politics without no experience. You understand? But he also admits that then they had Dr. Mitchell, they had Bowen, they had Mr. Modest, you understand, to guide them along. But then he turned on and he flipped it. He's on the next side. You have the NDC have people like Nazim Bob, they have people like Tillman Thomas. Those people are people that run the country to the ground.
But
they wasn't able to make a 5-year period.
But this group claim that one of the challenges they have with NDC was the older folks. So they say they get rid of all of them.
Yes.
So they are a brand new team.
But that's what I mean.
So they could hit the ground running.
Well, there is where the mistake lies. Because a brand new team don't have the connection You understand? It's not just so, it's not to go in England where you did and think. You had to build connections. You had to build partnership with people. You understand? You're dealing with foreign affairs. You understand? The Barbadian Prime Minister Mia Motley came down here, and Mia Motley said, look, the Caribbean cannot plan long term. You understand? Because of the dictate of the superpowers.
And Mia Motley was in politics long.
Exactly.
Since she 20s.
Let me tell you something. People like all Pandey and them fellas stay, before they get leadership role, they stay a long time in opposition.
In politics, yes.
You have to grow in opposition.
And in St. Lucia, we have about 3 or 4 individuals that was prime ministers.
Yes.
In both of the political parties.
Yes. You understand? So this thing is not that. Let me tell you something. If the NLP has the machinery in place, you understand, to move forward, they have everything, they have a structure, you understand? But all the promises that is made by the NDC, you understand, those things is in the thin air.
What happened? You don't think they could achieve these promises easy?
No, how they could achieve it? They cannot achieve it. I mean, come on. It promises. It promises, it's well said, but not well done. You know. Have a good day, my brother.
All right, my brother. Thank you very much. And the brother made mention of the war between Russia and Ukraine, and that is very important. That war seems to be either turning to a third world war or will go on for a very long time. Billions of dollars have been invested by the West and NATO in this war. There are 2 countries, I think Sweden and Finland, that is asking now to be members of NATO. They are only getting some objection from Turkey. But Turkey is concerned about these countries supporting dissidents in their country. We have a caller on the line. Caller, punch.
Yeah, how is the weekend, my friend?
Great, man.
Man, while we're talking about politics, there's a very serious situation that is developing in terms of a sickness or a disease or infection called
monkeypox. Yeah.
And I want us to keep our eyes on it. I understand it's very serious. You have to be quarantined for at least 21 days. So yes, we're talking about politics and everything, but you know, I've always been something different.
And I welcome that.
Yeah. And not to say that I'm against any politician or whatever the case is, but you notice in me always something different and something substantial to talk about. And not that I'm saying that other people not talking anything substantial, but things that attract me and things that information that concerns me and the nation, I'm concerned about that. And I'm asking because apparently this monkeypox is spreading. I wouldn't say like wildfire. I think it's out of Europe now. And I think it's reached to England.
It is appearing in countries that they don't normally endemic.
Right, and you know how our borders are open up.
Close with England.
Right, and I'm not saying that the government should close it down, but you know, in terms of travel. So I think that I'm calling on the government and all of us to keep an eye on it. Be very careful. Don't do too much about it, even with the political rallies. I know that. Okay, it's outside. I still find that people, Mr. Pierre, people standing up too close to one another. And that is what causes the spread. So I'm concerned because I don't know if somebody comes down with it again, comes down traveling and it's not detected and they have it. So I think people should try and avoid this close contact. And I'm calling on the government and all of us here in Grenada to keep our eyes on this monkeypox because we don't want a next deadly infection again that we cannot control. Thank you. Have a great day.
Yes, my sister. And this is a very important conversation. And I hope one day we'll be able to delve in it more. Monkeypox. In the meantime, I encourage young people with telephone to go Google, find out much information you could about monkeypox. There is really no cure and no vaccine for it. You have about 3 weeks in which to the period in which you're expected to have isolation. We have a caller on the line. Caller, welcome.
Pleasant good Monday to you, Mr. Pierre, and to all of the listeners here, home and abroad. I will first of all want to thank God for sparing us with excellent weather over the weekend so we can celebrate in our various parties. We are eternally grateful for that. I also want to say thank you to our politicians, those who have made the efforts to take part in frontline politics, especially the women. The men, we say thank you for the support because they say that behind every good man, there is a woman. And the women, so many times you have to leave the family, quality time, the children, and go out there to fend for them and to see how much support you can get for the various parties with all the love in your heart. Yet for all, we beat up on them in negative ways. But I just want to say to you, hold on strong. God is good. Be steadfast. Be positive. You can make a difference. And if politicians before did it at 20-something and 30-something years, it is not impossible for our children that we have educated to do it now. They are worth it. They are bright. They are smart. They are intelligent. Go for it. One of the things I observed, Mr. Pierre, our very own Attorney General, that of Miss Dia Forrester, held a press conference a couple of weeks ago representing the government of Grenada. And for the first time in our history, journalists didn't have a question. You know why? Because Dia Forrester was explicit, she's knowledgeable, and she was to the point.
These journalists is a joke. I listened to them and I heard about 20. These journalists is a joke.
Well, the lady
they politically worked.
The lady did an excellent job, and we must compliment her.
Of course she did a good job. But the journalist is a joke.
To all of our people, we say, be strong, be your best. Whatever you do, put God first. Have a blessed evening.
Thank you, sister. And the sister called complimenting women, and I always say, the hand that rocked the cradle rule the world. I think the message we have to get to our women to wake up, to get hungry for education. Age, once you're 16 years plus, you're supposed to be equipped. Our 16-year-olds supposed to be coming out in school with the minimum requirements. Our 18, 19, 20-year-old should have degrees. And one of the problems is that too many of our women are lackadaisical. We have enough examples of success stories of women in the world. And we have to wake up our women. Sometimes I feel proud of the women in politics. When you look at St. Andrews, we have 4 women there. All of them enter politics relatively young. Always involved in some community activity. Married. They have children. And we live in the community. So we know irrespective of they may have challenge, they have good relationship. And all of them are educating themselves and deeply involved in the community. And I think these 4 women in St. Andrews, and I'm talking about those who are MPs now, is a real model in total, where people can look at their lives, look at their political lives, their academic lives, and their relationship, their relationship in their house, and admire it. So they practically set a template for the other women coming in. And women must give that. And I say that is important to me because you have some sexual theologies or sexual dynamics, not theology, sexual dynamics that going on in the world where people have multiple partners. where people don't have the conventional relationship. And when you enter politics in Grenada, I want to know how sexually liberal you are. I could vote for you under any condition, but I want to know. So the 4 women in St. Andrews who are MPs, I think is a model. They remind me of the days of Whipple Ned and Nadia Benjamin and Cynthia Gary. And then you had other women in politics too, in Grenada, you know. But these 4, at first time, I believe, we have 4 women representing in St. Andrews. The one party have about half of the candidates are women. And the other party, I think, have about 3 women, I believe. 1, 2, 3, about 4 women. And this is good. So we like, it is good for women to be well-rounded and also very family conscious and oriented. And you can give me a call. The number to call is 442-0175. You see, when our women are hungry for education, we practically ensure that our children's life is secure. We have a war going on in Russia and Ukraine now. When Russia finish mash up Ukraine, because Russia is going to win the war. We have a caller on the line. Caller, welcome.
Mr. Pierre.
Yes, ma'am.
Good morning.
Go right ahead.
Let me ask you one question. Is Lambichelos grow?
If Lambichelos does grow, well, if you after the Lambi died, the shell wouldn't make any growing again. But the Lambi was small and it get big. So obviously the shell is the protective covering that goes with the Lambi.
But we had a big argument about that some time ago on the city.
Yes, Lambichelos go. You don't see small Lambichel, big Lambichel. Lambichelos go. The shell is part of the Lambi.
Yeah,
once the Lambi die, the shell dies too. You stop move.
One question again. How do the water get into young jelly?
How the water get into young jelly? The same thing as how we blood get in our body. all plants have water in it. Water is collected through the roots, through photosynthesis, through the leaves, and the water come, and that is the fruit. What the coconut produces, the water inside. It's all part of the miracles of this life. Even the cactus in the desert have water in it. Sometimes we in agriculture in particular, we don't learn to appreciate and enjoy the beauty of nature. We fight nature.
Yes.
We plant crops where we hardly have water, rather than plant crops that is better suited. Some people plant lettuce and cabbage and fighting to water them every day, rather than planting maybe passion fruit or some other crop that that don't need all this water. Right? But the plant itself makes its food, it makes the water. The water wasn't for you, you know. The water is for the jelly.
Yes.
But we make it.
Since the jelly young, the jelly
it's like the bees making honey. And they make the honey for themselves, but we rob it from them.
Okay.
Yeah, and use it. And then we mimic their life. And we make boxes for them that where they could produce much more. Because in nature, they wouldn't produce much more. So that is, if you plant your coconut and you plant it proper distance and you provide fertilizer, it would grow faster. Yes? Yes, scholar, thank you. So I think it is important that we have this war going on in Ukraine for Grenada to understand we are only pawns in the game. We are on the receiving end. But we could be seriously affected because a number of the things we import are not made in the Caribbean. It is not made in Grenada. It is not made in the Caribbean. We import them. And because of the war, because of the economic war also, because we have an economic war going on between Europe and Russia, and United States of America. So it's going to affect shipping. We have a caller on the line. Caller, welcome.
Hey, Mr. Pierre.
Yeah, my brother.
Yeah, well, I think going forward with all these women in the politics on both sides, they should make one of them women deputy. So going forward, we might have a woman prime minister.
Well, just now you want to practically silence man. Yes, so much woman already. You still want to make one deputy? Those women powerful and influential.
Yeah, well, that's what we made,
They might domesticate the man, I worried, I am extremely concerned when I see plenty women in a political party. What gives me faith is the fact that these women are married. These women have children, and these women could keep their money. When you hear you have plenty of women in an organization, and they don't believe in marriage again, and they're extremely liberal, and they don't want children, and they don't want man, is a lot of problem. So I tend to gravitate and support women that are holistic, well-rounded. They have their husband, they have children, they have boys. They believe in some level of religious, some level of religion. Because if you have women that are atheists, Jumbi take money.
Yeah, but the women in the politics seem to be well-rounded.
They're well-rounded. They have their husband and they're able to keep their husband.
So we need.
They have children. You see, they're church-oriented. If you notice them, they're kind of humble and conventional.
Yeah.
It's not liberal women that want to support group marriage. You have some people in the world, they want group marriage. 5, 6, 7 of us married together. Well, I don't mind Islam have 5 wives, but I don't want to participate in no group marriage. But you have people in the world, so when you hear a woman say she's liberal, you have to be careful. And you don't see her with no husband, no children. You have to find out what she believes in. And if you have 4 or 5 of them in a political party, sometimes the next thing we hear, gay marriage, or they married a cow, you could marry a cow. In the United States, a woman married a captain. So and I'm not saying nothing is wrong with that. We must not be caught with our pants down. We must be cognizant of what we're dealing with. So if you have 4 or 5 women in a political party, and when you speak to these women, they don't want to hear about man. They don't believe in marriage. They're very liberal with a sexual orientation. They support whether gay marriage or you could marry 10 person one time. And I ain't saying that against it, because them Islam and them, a man could have 5 wives and he could beat his wife. The Quran say you could admonish her, you could deny your bedroom, or you could beat her slightly. So one have to be certain what you support. It's not a question of just jumping up. Because you may give support to things you're against. That is why I don't like politicians creep on me. I want to know what a politician stands for. Because of my religious belief, I want to know if that politician is an atheist. And he might be an atheist, but because he's well-grounded, I could tolerate him. We have a caller on the line. Caller, welcome.
Hey, Mr. Pierre, good afternoon.
Yes, my brother.
Yeah, Mr. Pierre, I want to give us some information for tomorrow evening.
Go right ahead.
At Willis Junction, the candidate for St. John Northwest, Honorable Dr. Mitchell, and Nimrod Oliver will be having a joint meeting at Willis Junction. Asking the people in the surrounding area and everyone to come out to this meeting to hear the plans for the development of these two, of St. John Northwest constituency and St. John Northeast. As for, they will be outlining further development for these 2 constituencies. There is a lot of things that took place already, so there is more development for the people of St. John Northwest and St. John Northeast, and for at whole in Grenada. Because I want to say also, Mr. Pierre, so I remember in 2008, when NDC was in office, they always talk about our cabinet. advising the government of what to do. And what I recognize and the trick of NDC to clean the slate of the candidate that run in 2013 to 2018 and 2018 to 2023. That whether they got 15 twice to take them out there or put them in the back burner. Put them there like if they're not important in politics, but they are in the background doing the planning. So just like a mother will say to a child, hate a person. Right? But the mother know, people know that the mother hate a person. So then the child will be speaking that now. Speaking that. Because if what is saying, and this is say right now, they go, everybody will be permanent. The older heads you cannot come and say that. Because when some person they go push that in young people's head to let them say that. But then when you look at what will happen, then when if NDC get into office, they know definitely some of the people that they have candidates that they are running, the inexperience, they might be given like a junior minister, and some of the person that was there in 2008, in 2013.
There's a lot of speculation.
Yeah. That's
a lot of speculation.
That's my opinion.
You see, that is where our journalists are weak.
Yeah.
Now you have journalists and you have personalities that is associated with a political party. But you have some people in Grenada that want to claim them as journalists. I consider that is the most dangerous group in this country. Malcolm X warned us about this group. Because if a politician says something, these are the people that ask the question.
Yeah.
Because a politician, if you notice in Grenada, a lot of the politicians go to radio stations where they have their people.
True.
So they practically program. They don't open up themselves. When you go on a platform, you could say anything. And some of the political activists not listen. But a journalist could ask, when you say you want to make everybody prominent, that don't necessarily mean nothing.
True.
You don't necessarily, because to be prominent as a teacher, you have to have a necessary qualification.
Exactly.
And you have to have space, and you have to be budgeted for.
Mr. Pierre,
Yeah.
okay, let's say like whenever election to president party win, what you find happening, some supporters will be getting a political appointee work. Alright? That's all?
Yeah, they are political jobs.
A political job. Is this not a contract? A private contract?
You see, again, you don't have to have a written contract to have a contract.
Exactly.
I see a lot of issues being made about contract, and it seems as though the politicians are not explaining it and defending it. All these things are more political stunt. In truth and in fact, you may not remember, we retrenched workers in Grenada twice.
Yeah.
And that was workers that had permanent jobs. And if you overload the public service, you would have to retrench workers.
Exactly. Sure.
So you have a lot of little political grandstanding. And this is not for maybe the trade union leaders. It's really for the consumption of some people. But you cannot point everybody in grade. That is a joke. Yes, sometimes Malcolm X warned us. He said the Fourth Estate, the journalists, they could make a guilty man go free and a free man go guilty. Because they have the ears of the people. A number of leaders in Grenada was destroyed. We have a caller on the line. Caller, welcome.
Yes, Mr. Pierre, what's up?
Good man, great man.
Mr. Pierre, I didn't really want to call the program here, but I have to call.
My brother, punch.
Okay, I appreciate that. The Dr. Mitchell say that he rang the bell, that's for June 23rd. He rang the bell. Do the people understand what the bell really symbolize? The bell symbolize slavery.
No, my brother, one way. When the Prime Minister say he rang the bell, it means he called the date for election.
I know what I'm getting.
The bell signifies time. We use the bell in school. We use the bell in estates. We use the bell in church. The bell, the tintin nabulation of the sonorous metal indicate the hour of nourishment has come. The tintinnabulation of the sonorous metal indicate the hour of nourishment has come. The bell has a long song, so it's to indicate time.
It's a pair. You make me laugh.
Thank you, my brother.
Mr. Pair, can I continue?
Yes, just punch.
Mr. Pair, the bell comes from slavery.
Well, nothing is wrong with that. A lot of things come from slavery.
Listen to me now, Mr. Pair. Let me get my point across.
Make it.
Mr. Pair, the slavery, back in slavery days, when the field slave have to march to the sugarcane factory, the sugarcane plantation or the cotton plantation, they will use a house slave to ring the bell, make it indicating them that they are ready to go out to the field. And when they're coming back, when time to come back to the field, they will use a house slave to ring the bell, making them know that it's time to leave the plantation. So the origin of the bell, I understand where you're coming from, Mr. Peck. Like in the church, in the school, I understand where you're coming from. But the origin of the bell is coming from a slave point of view. This is what I'm trying to bring to you. Anyway, Mr. Peck.
Thank you, my brother.
Yeah, I'm not finished yet. I'll finish about the bell. Let me get to another point. Mr. Peck, all I'm here is saying that parents should give their children proper education. Could you tell me the definition of proper education, Mr. Peck? I will appreciate that.
I could answer that off there.
No, let's talk about it on the air.
No, when you listen to me, when you ask a question, remember this program is 1 hour.
Okay,
we try to get about 10 callers, so that's why we encourage people to punch. But when you're asking questions while you're speaking, you're going to end up with 10 minutes on the radio, and we don't have that luxury.
I understand what.
So if you ask the question, I'll respond to you after.
Okay.
Right?
What I'm saying, Mr. Peck, listen to me. Don't run. What I'm saying, Mr. Peck, because I usually hear you talk about proper education.
I'm going to explain that to you what I mean by proper education, and you will hear that over and over again.
So when are you going to explain it?
When you're off the air, when you're off.
No, but I would like for you to do it on the air so I can sit behind the screen and listen to you.
Then what you need to do is to come off and listen to me.
Well, let me say something again now. Don't worry.
Why not call me tomorrow and say that same thing? You see, what we're encouraging people to punch. Don't waste time. You might have 4 or 5 or 6.
I'm not wasting any time. I just get into my point.
All right, we have to take you off. Yeah. What we encourage people to do is to punch. You may have 2 or 3 issues, you bring it on. Now, sometimes I interject and ask a question for clarity. If you asking me questions, then you want me to answer you. And that might, particularly if your time is exhausted and on topics that are extremely controversial. We have a caller on the line? Caller punch. Yes, caller, go right ahead.
Good afternoon, Mr. Pierre.
Yes, my brother.
I listen to your program every day.
Yeah.
And you got man, your real ground baby, very knowledgeable. And on every issue. But something I want to say here. After Jonah delivered Nineveh, what become of Jonah? Hello?
Yeah.
After Jonah delivered Nineveh, you hear anything about Jonah again?
His job was completed.
Did anybody throw Jonah overboard again?
Nobody threw him overboard again for?
Well, I would like all the NEC people to listen to that one because they will call him Jonah. How you get him out?
But Jonah's name ringing all now. Because you see, Jonah did not want to go to Nineveh because he didn't like the people of Nineveh. He don't want them safe. That's why Jonah was running, you know. Not because Jonah wasn't a good man, but he said the people suffer and let them suffer. So that is why God had to redirect him. When the master sent you, obey. And Jonah spent a short time in Nineveh, you know. He preached in a manner he didn't even want the people to change. But the people changed. They put on, how they call it, ashcloth or sackcloth. You know? And they changed. And the people were saved.
And for me, the biggest mistake with Democratic Congress they make is to call world boss Jonah.
Well, they're kind of right, you know. Because let me tell you why. Dr. Kit Mitchell, whether we like it or not, is the most criticized human being in Grenada. He's the most successful politician in Grenada. Perhaps he's the most forgiving and accommodating leader in Grenada. And I think Dr. Kit Mitchell liked the action too, some people in politics, but you could see they're uncomfortable. Dr. Kit Mitchell perhaps is one of the individuals, if you argue with him today, next time we meet you, he's calling you back and tell you, we don't finish the argument.
Of course, the man was born to lead it.
And that is why he's so successful as a politician.
The man was born to lead.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I'm listening to your program.
Thank you, my brother.
Yeah.
And there are some lessons to learn from our politicians in Grenada. And whether you like Kit Mitchell or not, when you write the history of the Commonwealth in politics, Kit Mitchell's name must be there. Anybody who's studying politics in Grenada and they don't study Eric Gary, Maurice Bishop, and Kit Mitchell, they are jokers. Kit Mitchell is the most successful politician we ever call on the line, call a punch.
Mr. Pierre, just wanted to...
Go right ahead.
I would have liked to ask him if the bill was created during the time of slavery in the Caribbean. Thank you.
Well, one of these days we might have to talk about this bell because the bell is long. They say the tintinabulation. Yeah.
I just said I should ask him what time the bell was invented.
No. Yes, we have the tintinabulation of the sonorous metal indicate the hour of nourishment has come. Come, young lord, go to the fountain of effervescence and bring me the youngest member of the Coke family. A fella want a Coke to drink. I think it's Pavlo. We have a call on the line. Caller, welcome.
Good evening, Mr. Pierre.
Yes, my brother.
Are you listening?
Yeah.
Mr. Pierre, every rally, I heard the Pierre saying that the gentleman have bought over the party. Mr. Pierre, what do you mean when he says the gentleman bought or buy the party? Mr. Pierre, could the Prime Minister explain to the young people who do not know how he become leader of the NMP? Could he remind the young people? Mr. Pierre, and another thing I want to talk about, Mr. Pierre. All the people that work with public service before and retire and holding high positions, for example, in Parliament and other places. Mr. Pierre, this work should be given to young people, Mr. Pierre, who just leave school, you know.
Caller, there are some statements that make in Grenada, and you just talk about the Prime Minister and buying a party. Some of the positions that people retire, you can't give young people that. Come on. Take, for instance, the Speaker of the House. The Speaker of the House is an individual who retired. Now tell me, go back in history and tell me how much young people had that position.
Mr. Pierre, but there is...
No, answer me. Tell me how much young people had that position.
Mr. Pierre, without giving them this...
You see, we've been making...
How would they get experience?
Caller, we've been making this camouflaging the truth with these statements for too long. There are some position. Remember, we retired at the age of 60. I have retired from the public service after 40 years. And I have no interest in a job with government or with any company. But if I wanted a job with Kenny Lalson, I would have go to him and ask him for a job and tell Kenny, fire one of them workers and take me. Because I have the ability to multitask.
So, Mr. Pierre,
and I work for...
Don't you think that the young people have a life to live as well?
Young people must get education and do certain jobs. Caller, unless you are a politician on the pulpit, if you are a politician on the political platform and you say that, I'm not taking issue with you. But one of the things we must do on this program is to speak in a manner that people learn.
Well, Mr. P, I'm speaking fact.
You are claiming that the government have people that retire from government.
And you give an example.
And I give you an example. The Speaker of the House.
Yes, you give
now go back through the whole Caribbean and see who are the people that are selected for the jobs.
So that means you should be working in public.
Go back and use reference. See how much 20-year-old that is Speaker of the House through the Caribbean. Or President of the Senate.
Next topic, Mr. Pierre.
Yeah.
Mr. Pierre, I heard also that the PM begging for one for the road, he asking for another one for the road. Could you explain that for me?
You see, I've just spoken to a caller before. Because our program is short,
I'm leaving.
if you asking questions and you have to answer you off, particularly you want to ask more than one question. So that's one of the challenges we have on the program. It's a short program. So if you want to ask me a question, the program is, I could answer you, but maybe one question. But if you continue with it, then we spend quite a long time back and front. Because those questions are not yes and no. They are not straight answers. I've constantly heard people claim that retirees are back on the job. There are some places you have to beg retirees to stay. Take, for instance, somebody retired from a nurse. And they ask them to come back. Some of them, we have a situation in a gentleman that was there, retired. And I think he served one occasion and came back and he practically not interested in working again because of the same criticism. So you have people based upon the expertise, based upon the knowledge, based upon the level of training that they have. Take, for instance, people, you have an Imani program. You have a number of people in society, perhaps who retire and home and could assist in these areas. So we're just making this blanket statement. And some of the young people that are looking for jobs, they cannot hold that job. They don't have the qualification. They don't have the knowledge. They don't have the experience. They cannot hold a job. What they need to do is to go to university, get education, and come back. And in Grenada, the retirement age is 60. And you can retire as early as 50. And because of Mr. Blaze's retrenchment program, we had people retire in their 20s. This is the reality here in Grenada. Our retirement age in Grenada is lower than a number of countries in the Caribbean. So when you see one person is Speaker of the House or Chester Humphreys President of the Senate, you have one or two people and then you're complaining about retire. This is just political grandstanding and camouflaging the truth. And when the next government come in power, they have to do the same thing. They must do the same thing. So we have to be careful on that. And we have opportunity to take another caller. And let us try to see what we could read on Facebook. Let me see what we could read. Why we don't, the leader, where he getting all the money to make workers permanent? Or somebody asking where the leader of the NDC would get all the money to make the workers permanent. You could always make workers permanent today and fire them tomorrow. We had a retrenchment program in Grenada. You cannot overload the public service. We have a caller on the line. Caller, welcome.
Yes, good morning, sir.
Yes, my brother.
I would just like to read out a short response.
Go right ahead.
Yes, as to whether changes will come later or not. I'm guided by the prophecies recorded in the entire listed books of the Holy Scriptures. Respect, as a true patriot of this trial and state, I will like to go down history stating, life on earth demand collective changes be made according to times, places, and circumstances. Symbols of this are some of the time and places. The sun and moon rises and sets, including the visibility of the stars in the skies continues have life on earth. As to the sustainable, reproductive and benefits which comes with the pursuits of building and maintaining a peaceful and caring society for generation and generation in their respectful jurisdiction. Therefore, a person or a nation to subject themselves to a mental slavery are most dangerous weapons which are used collected against producing and maintaining caring and peaceful society for the common and less passionate person in their respective jurisdiction. Because of time, I will stop here until another. On another time, I will respond to the qualification.
Thank you. Thank you very much, caller. And political parties have to understand. I've heard a number of statements made vis-a-vis the Prime Minister of Grenada because of, I guess, of his age and his success in politics. We had a referendum. We had an opportunity to make certain that no politician remain in power for more than 3 occasions. We said no. We had an opportunity to vote for a fixed date for election. We said no. We had an opportunity to vote. So irrespective of the fact that one party win all, the opposition would have a representation in parliament and you would have an opposition leader. We voted no. We voted no 8 times. Our lawyers in our country and all disagreed with Grenada being involved in the CCJ. They prefer that we stay with the Privy Council. The reason they give was that they don't have confidence in our Caribbean jurisprudence. They have more confidence in England. We have a lawyer in Grenada that is advocating that one of the parish should petition, and he says he don't care if they associate with New Zealand or Australia. We have another lawyer that seems to have serious issue with a St. Lucian company doing work in Grenada, although I have never heard him object to MK. Is MK or the American company, the Cuban company, all these foreign companies that work in Grenada. CCC, a Kuwaiti. And it's also that once you're seeking loans from places like the GDB and the World Bank, you cannot prevent companies from vying for this project. Now, sometimes we have to sit down and ask, what is it we want? What is it we want? And we reach to the end of our program, and we constantly remind our people, we must take something from this war in Ukraine and Russia. Our people have to be better prepared to be more competitive on the job market. And parents must find out, what do I do to make certain my children is more competitive on the job market? And next time I'll tell my brother what I mean by being well educated. Thank you very much. We'll see you tomorrow when we give you an opportunity to punch.
Voices high, sing of your Caribbean pride. Sing it loud and strong, feel our hearts beat as one. Celebrate in song
Triple N. Informative, entertaining, and first. Every hour on the hour.
This is the latest news update